Okay, perfect. All right, so just to a quick agenda for the evening here. After our introductions announcements, we'll start with Jim, who will give kind of the use cases for the new Atlassian products. And then after Jim's presentation, we'll have a Q&A session, and we will also do a Spring Atlassian Roundtable. It's going to be led by Madhu and couple from the New York City chapter. And then, of course, after the speakers here, we will do some raffles, some prizes, and then we'll have some discussions, and kind of quote unquote, our virtual doors will close at 7 p.m. here. So with that, just about our sponsors and raffles. So I want to thank, obviously, Atlassian and as well as Contegix. They've provided $25 gift cards. So note, you have to be present at the time of the raffle to win. And of course, please share your email address as well at the end to receive the prize. Again, thanks to Contegix to making it exciting here for us to attend and keep learning. And a quick note to the previous winners. We just want to highlight that thank you for winning for the last time, but you won't be eligible this time around. We want to obviously keep it available for the other people who join the call here. Okay. And with that, just quickly moving on to our agenda, I will introduce Jim, our first speaker for the evening. Jim is a native of Ohio, and he's joining us from Columbus. And he's going to talk to us about kind of the new tools and new products that Atlassian is offering from the Point A program. And I think the main question is, do we really need these tools or not? With that, I'm going to hand it off to Jim. Let's get started.
Thanks, Philippe. Appreciate that. Whenever you're ready, I can go ahead and
yep, go ahead. Stop the share here.
All right. So thank you for the introduction. My name is James Breunig, and this presentation is going to be about the use cases for the new Atlassian apps. So we'll be discussing Atlas, Jira Product Discovery, Compass, and Beacon, all which were added to the Atlassian Cloud suite. Some of them are still in beta, and they're all very much, in development and adding new features. But so far, what I've seen is very promising, and definitely some good use cases for these new tools. So a little bit about Contegix. So we are a Atlassian solution partner. We are one of the oldest Atlassian solution partners out there, from being a partner for the past 20 years. We are, all things Atlassian. We do hosting. We also do FedRAMP and HIPAA. We do a lot of government compliance. We also focus on, the different practices like ITSM and Agile specifically. So I joined Contegix in 2021 after being acquired. We were with Ascend. We've recently acquired another company called Blended Perspectives, and I'm a principal consultant there. I am an SPC for Scaled Agile, ITIL 2011 certified. Also just got my ITIL V4, and I have several Atlassian certifications as well. All right, so now that you can log on with Cloud and look at your and put in new products. As you can see, the lineup that you can have now is grown by quite a bit. So in addition to the standard, Jira Work Management, Jira Software, Confluence, we now have Atlas, Jira Product Discovery, Compass, and Beacon. Beacon is still in beta. Jira Product Discovery is probably the closest to being released now. They've actually announced pricing information for it recently. So Atlassian is used to track how individuals are doing on the team. So, if you noticed recently in Jira Service Management that now that you can not only @mention individuals, you can how @mention teams. There's now a lot more information that we can put on these various teams. So it can be used to highlight, how a team is doing against its goals. So, normally we have all the tools in the Atlassian suite, like we can look at the velocity, we can look at, our timesheets and things like that. But also, we want to make sure we're giving recognition to our team. And, when they're hitting their goals, we want to give them kudos, which are available. And this just screenshot just kind of shows like what a kudos could look like. It's kind of like a little postcard, and you can put information on it. A lot of companies do these like awards that are like kind of these, great job awards. And this gives you a way to do it natively within Jira. So it's just kind of a neat way to be able to show appreciation for your team. One example here is that you can use it for goal tracking. So kind of like, how you would in like an HR software where you're able to build SMART goals, you're able to build goals for your team as well. So you can see who the owner is, what team they're on, if they have reporting lines, what target dates you have for the goals. So, it provides, similar to the way you would track a project, you can also use this goal tracking to be able to track, how your team is doing. If you have individuals, you could also put their goals, you could put that on there as well. But, as opposed to just using, HR software is kind of meant for individuals, but, teams need to have goals as well. So this is a great way to be able to track those. Next up is Jira Product Discovery. So, it allows ideation to be planned in its own Jira project that focuses on the processes to weigh whether or not it's a good idea to implement something. So it allows planning in the roadmap without committing to dates. So you can see on the right-hand side, the view that you will get with, a discovery project. You have these different types of reports, and looking at impact, and we can look at like what is the purpose of this idea can help us weigh it in. And the use case I've given here is, for example, a now next someday or now next later roadmap. So what's really great is that many times we might have ideas and things we want to do, but we don't know exactly when we want to do them. And we don't want to really commit them to dates. And this can make planning in advanced roadmaps a little bit difficult, because advanced roadmaps is great when it comes to having dates. But if you have no dates, it almost looks like we're not even doing anything with it. Rather than having a Jira issue where we're committing to doing it, or we're just showing this endless backlog of things, we actually have ideas now that we can weigh in sort of a pre-backlog, put them into a now, next, later roadmap, and we can show goals and impact and all the ways that we're measuring to try to see, why we would be doing these different features or different items, or, really could be used for a lot of different, places. Like generally the business groups like marketing and things like that love this kind of things because, in general, their goal is to brainstorm and come up with lots of ideas. They don't necessarily need them created as issues that we're going to commit to. So Compass is a DevOps tool that helps track code quality for your team. So it helps give more depth to the components that your team might be working on within a code repo. So as you can see from here, you will line up what projects you're working with. You have this components menu here. And you can see this component, for example, is called insurance app. And I can see, which tier is working on it, which team, kind of relates again to that team functionality that we now have in Jira Service Management. And we have scorecards and things like that. So it helps us, look at the health of our code committing. And, it gives us to take a look to see if the teams are experiencing issues with code deployment at a glance. While it's great that you can go to each Jira issue and see if deployments are failing or see if code checks are failing, this kind of gives you a view, but at the team level, to see whether or not some of the things that you're doing with your code repos are passing or failing, and you can create those scorecards to do that. So Beacon will help monitor your Atlassian cloud products for anonymous user activity, data exfiltration events, unusual user activity, integration changes. It kind of provides you a similar to how you would have a SIEM, like Microsoft Sentinel or any number of other security monitoring tools out there. This can provide security monitoring alerts for your Atlassian cloud software. And, you can have that sent to Slack or Teams. So, if you have someone who's trying to, like, for example, force, log into Jira and they see like tons of logins within the last few minutes, we can give that alert out there. And if there's something that we need to do, like maybe it's an old Atlassian account that someone's suddenly trying to log in with, that gives the Jira administrator, knowledge that this is happening, and they can, do what they need to, maybe maybe there was something they need to take off the whitelist, something in order to manage the instance. So here's the use case, for example. Let's say if I want to know if a user is added to the org admin role. This is one of the alerts. A new org admin has been added or removed. So you can see, whether or not that just happened. Obviously the org admin is a role that can do a lot of damage if it's given to the wrong person or just given out. So, it's helpful for the Jira admin to know when that happens. All right, so with that being said, we can do some Q&A. And if you guys have questions, let's go ahead and take a look at the chat and see if anybody has some here.
I don't think we have any questions, Jim. So I'll just kind of leave it up to the audience. And I think also you wanted to maybe do some demos, I think, just kind of driven around what people will be interested in seeing, correct?
Yes, yeah, and I have some of those open as well, so.
So I think maybe to kickstart, I'm going to ask you a question, because you said with the Jira Product Discovery, that's the first tool that was released, and I think you said that you've been playing around with it and you really like it. Can you talk us about the pricing? How they say just recently announced it, so I think that's something on everyone's mind. And how does that compare with the other Jira, Confluence, and everything there?
Sure. So let me go ahead and pull that up real quick.
And folks, we do have a kind of small intimate crowd here, so feel free to just unmute your mic and just feel free to ask the questions to Jim as we go here.
So this article right here, this Atlassian community.atlassian.com has the pricing announcement. So this is their pricing model. So free for up to 3 creators, unlimited contributors, and then $0 per month. If you stay within that. But then $10 per creator per month, like other Atlassian products are progressive. So if you have more than 25 creators, we'll reduce that by 10%. So, and they said that they'll share more details on this. But this is what they have put out there for price. So, I mean, it doesn't look like it's too unreasonable. And again, depends on your organization. You may have lots of individuals. One of the companies we've suggested with this is a marketing company, for example, and they just love it. So they may be using more licenses, because it is a little bit more per license than you would for like a Jira software license. But, it definitely could be something that, if you add that to your arsenal, would really help you out. And this just kind of explains what the difference is between a creator and a contributor. Again, nothing is quite final yet, but this is what they're basically saying that you'd be allowed to do. So you'd be able to create the ideas, edit the ideas, change rank order, share views. Whereas a contributor can add insights, comments, and reactions and votes. So kind of similar to like the add participants feature in Jira Service Management. Allows you to kind of join the conversation, but you don't actually have a chance to, to create those items with just a free thing. So, this is kind of their questions and answers about their software pricing. And again, this is what they've put out so far. So if you guys want, I can send you guys a link to this in the chat.
Yeah, please do. Folks, again, if you have any questions, feel free to ask Jim here.
Yeah, I had a question on the product discovery.
Sure.
Hi, I'm Pete. Thanks for sharing. I've seen this like similar kind of use cases being solved with Jira software. So setting up like a kind of like an idea board or a backlog board. What's the kind of key benefit for kind of a standalone product as opposed to using historically Jira to kind of solve that use case?
Oh no, I understand. Like I said, that's what we've done before here too. Like I said, I think the really cool thing is that hopefully it'll load here. Is as you can see, like you can add stuff in here pretty quickly. So like if I want to put a new idea, I can put that in here, and then there's already places where I can put in some different types of goals. And the cool thing is that the now next later roadmap really helps a lot. So one of the things I find is that it can be difficult to plan ideas without committing to dates. So many times we have that date field in many of our things, and people want to see these on a roadmap. Even with our customers, we don't necessarily want to commit to dates, but we want to put a roadmap out for them so they can visualize it. And I was making these roadmaps by hand for many of our clients just because, I didn't want to have I guess you can make a drop down or a status that says now, next, or someday. But, what's nice is that, this puts it in a board format, and, it just allows you to be able to do things. And like you said, you can see that there's like, impact scores and other fields. So like, for example, if I want to increase my goal, I can increase my effort. You can see that this gives you an impact versus effort calculation, which, like I said, I understand you could do that in automation for Jira, but, having all this right out of the box, especially for a customer, you could even put in dates here if you really want to, just gives you that ability to, be able to do this planning here at a glance. And then, we can even have like your delivery tickets and stuff like that. So basically when you're ready to go ahead and turn this into a user story or turn this into a task or whatever you need to do in Jira, you can do that. And then of course, link it to the idea, because this is just this is a issue type, just like anything else. Does that answer your question?
It does. Thank you.
Hey, Jim, this is Kimberly. I have a question. It might be a bit of a deep question here. So one of the things I'm looking at this and thinking, hey, this might be a real benefit, is that it doesn't look like this board that the columns are tied to any actual workflow status. So people could freeform their columns and those tickets can move freely without being tied to a workflow. Is that a correct impression of this?
Yeah. So, if I want to put on a new status here called Icebox, I've had some teams call their backlog that, where it's something hasn't been touched in a long time. We could use that in this case. And then, now I have something I can put this in later, so that if I have ideas that I really don't, I think that they're never going to happen, or, you could, there's different ways of putting these names here, but, you could have that in here as well. And again, it's great for brainstorming sessions. So, if people just want to instantly rank and vote on these issues, they can do that. So, the ability to just like kind of quickly, like, go through and rank ideas and things like that, and put information in here, gives you that flexibility that you don't normally have in Jira without affecting other reports in many cases. So, because it's not really a user story yet, it's not really a task yet. We want to have it separate as an idea, but not commit to things like dates. And, we want to be able to still own those things, but not necessarily, have to commit to them. But then if we do end up developing it, we want to give people credit for it and then link the idea to a story.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is actually something I'm going through right now, where I've got a team who wants to have all of these special statuses for their planning pieces. And we're trying to do this alignment across the whole org. And it's like, well, if we introduce these statuses, then it kind of messes with our aligned reporting. So this seems like a really super easy solve for what we're experiencing. And I love that there's that linking feature, because people will want to know, hey, if I've got this on this board, where's the real work happening? So that's really awesome.
Ultimately, like, see how this says Discovery Project? These are just another type of project now in Jira. So they've introduced, Service Project, we have Software Project, and now Discovery Project.
Fantastic. Thanks for sharing.
No problem.
Don't forget work management, yet another project type.
That's right.
Jim,
And it's easy to like color these cards too. I'm sorry, go ahead. Did somebody else have a question?
Yes, I believe someone was asking about if you can color the cards. Go ahead. I apologize, I interrupted them.
So yeah, I believe there's a way to change the colors on the cards. I'm trying to think of what I did offhand to do that. There's like different templates and things like that that are available. So like they have like hypothesis testing, solution definition. So it's almost like kind of like Confluence, where you can kind of have some pre-made things. I'm trying to think what I did to color the cards though, but I'm pretty sure it can at least the edge of the cards. But yeah, I think there are ways to make that so you can have it stand out more on your roadmap. Let's see.
And while you're doing that, Jim, what do people use before this? I mean, through like, I guess like an industrial strength tool, like an AHA, or it seems like almost like when you're showing the board, it's just like another Trello again. Is that fair to say?
I mean, I've seen people do that as well. So I mean, like I said, I think, why Atlassian, I don't work for Atlassian, so I'm not sure, the reason for coming up with this. I'm assuming as a competitor maybe, or just a way that's a little bit more, as part of a Jira product, or maybe, marketing teams and others said like, hey, we feel like, we're left out of this because we can't brainstorm easily. This maybe was just an idea, and hopefully at teams, they'll be able to give an explanation as to why they came up with this as a new product and as a separate app. Because instead of being a feature of Jira software, they made it a separate app with separate pricing. So unlike when they added Insight Asset Management to Jira Premium, and I don't know, maybe their plan is to add this to Premium. Right now it's a separate. It looks like to be a separate product. So, like I said, what their roadmap is for this tool, I'm not sure. But like I said, it seems like a good, another, like I said, just another tool in your arsenal to be able to use. And like I said, there might be some teams that like the way they're doing things already, and already spent a lot of time building an idea project. I can certainly understand that if you've built all kinds of automation and things like that. But, like I said, there might be, especially companies who don't have anything right now, this might be something that they can look at.
Thanks.
So got a question for you there, Jim. I see obviously this is for cloud. Is there any talk about bringing this to data center or anything like that?
That I do not know. Again, hopefully they'll talk about this more at teams. Let's see. They said no, we'll continue advanced integration and discovery, but they don't want, at this time, they want it to remain a standalone product. General availability. Yeah, I don't see anything about it being for data center yet, but it would be interesting to see if they, it seems like they do lab test a lot of this stuff in cloud first, so maybe data center will come later. I'm not sure. Yeah, it'd be cool if they would roll it into premium. I think that would be great, but it's like I said, at least according to this right now, and this could change. It says that they're, at least for now, keeping it as a standalone product. So maybe they're testing to see how popular it is, and whether or not people consider that to be a value, added value to enough for premium.
Does anyone have any other questions on Jira Product Discovery? I think maybe we would like to see a demo of Compass, because I know that's the other tool that a lot of folks have started to use. So it'd be good to kind of get your insight into what you feel about Compass, Jim, as well as how your clients are using it.
Okay.
Yeah, one of the things I'm curious about with Compass is I'm used, you were talking about managing the health of the code and different things like that. And I'm always just used to seeing like your merges or your warnings in the fixed version. So I'm kind of curious how this complements that, or how that's going to work with the already existing Jira reporting.
Okay. Yeah. So and again, I'm somewhat new to this still. Here's a new onboarding screen they didn't have before, and again, this is still beta, so they might change all things, but, first you start with connecting your Bitbucket or GitHub repo, which I did, and then explores your health metrics and components. So deployment frequency, incident MTTR, and open pull requests. And then it allows us to look at the health and metrics as part of the CheckOps sprint ritual. So that's kind of pretty cool. Like I said, it allows you to just have that, deployment fails and things like that to you can kind of get that info. So this right here is just sort of a test repo that I had on here. We'll go ahead and skip the tour on this one. But you can see the repo here in the project that it's linked up to. And it's kind of cool because you can put documentation. You can add dashboards here. And then this gives you the DevOps health. And I can see here, if I pull into this, deployment frequency less than, once that metric is on there, you can kind of get this information in here. And then these are what they use for scoring. And then I'll go ahead and put the scorecard details up here. You can see the team I've created here is the owner, and you can see the criteria, you have like of what they basically show as like, you make your kind of your own scorecard here, and, what components things apply to. And you can, choose to make, different scorecards, based on different components as well.
And what tool would this be comparable to kind of in a current ecosystem or for a company?
That's a good question. I'm trying to think if, Crucible deals more with code comparison. I'm not sure of one off the top of my head, to be honest. There might be a DevOps tool out there that does some of this stuff for you that I'm not familiar with, but it's like I said, as I can see, like you can choose the metric, or I can look at like build success rate, build time, change failure rate, deployment frequency, deployment time, open vulnerabilities, pull requests, recent incidents, reliability. So unit testing coverage. So there might be tools like X-Ray and stuff like that do that somehow or other. Maybe I'm just not familiar with it, but if you guys have any suggestions,
it has a bit of a coveralls feel. I know coveralls is kind of like a different type of tool, but it can measure similarly to this, where it can say, hey, how much. The overall goal for coveralls is to make sure, or is to publicize, how good your code coverage is. And so I could see this. I could see like you can pull similar metrics to this. So I think that might be like the closest that I can think of.
Okay. Let's see, comparison operator. Oh, I see. So yeah, you have to have, it looks like you have to have values in here. Or less than 100, there you go. So yeah, like I said, like like I said, at least this kind of gives you like the ability to hook up to Bitbucket, and I believe the other code repos as well too. So like I said, Bitbucket code repo, GitLab, Azure DevOps, Circle CI. So they actually have kind of a library here of some of these tools and things like that will integrate with this tool.
Cool. I think with maybe we can wrap up. Maybe just take a look at Atlas, because I think that's the other big one, right?
Okay.
Just you have. We can probably do a demo of that, and we can wrap it up. If there's any other questions.
Okay. So you have your different teams that you've created. And, we can take a look and, so I have this like team called Dream Team here. And, as you can see, you can see the members of the team. So it's similar to the profile that you're used to seeing, but we also have like projects and goals, and we can do kudos. So like, for example, we'll go ahead and give a kudos here. Go ahead and give kudos. And, like I said, there are HR apps, I think, that do this kind of thing, but this is kind of nice just to have this sort of native in here. And you have that record of it. So, and this kind of explains what the kudos are. It's a way for, to kind of have your teams, show, what all is there. So there's also this org chart feature, which is coming soon. And then, the goals are really what I thought was the best part. So, if you create a goal, let's see, and then you can have a date, or you can go by quarter. And then you can have who the owner is. And give it a refresh. And now I have this new goal on here. I can have the status of whether it's pending on track. I can follow that goal, and I can archive it if I am finished with it, or copy it. And status of this goal might be off track. We'll take that off there as the filter. Should be able to update that here. There we go, off track. And you can see, like, you can kind of create projects and things like that, to kind of talk about, what all you're working on. Again, this may have been like a Jira project before, but kind of gives you a way of being able to track all this stuff. So it's almost like kind of having a Confluence template on here. And, it's sort of this like kind of SMART goal sheet, but it's more meant for teams as opposed to individuals. But you can see that, I guess you could have one contributor on it, but, you can, put on like what the goal is here that you're contributing to.
And then do you have any clients that are using this tool right now in terms of in beta?
Not yet. So far we're just sort of, so far, like, so for our stuff, we can see where, there are HR tools that do some of this kind of stuff, but it's kind of nice to be able to have it in Jira as opposed to like Workday or something. So, yeah, I like I said, like, I could see like HR focused companies, maybe be, or at least, companies that do HR with a lot of HR stuff in Jira, like maybe onboarding and offboarding, and doing other things like that, or maybe they use the knowledge base a lot, where maybe this is the next logical step, as opposed to, expanding their HR tools further, that ends up being disconnected. Got
it. So that's curious to hear that you haven't found clients actually using these tools, because I think you mentioned that obviously with the cloud, it's kind of very easy to integrate, because obviously everything's on the Atlassian cloud. So from a data and a privacy security perspective, that should be good. Any reason you find people not interested, that we kind of play around with it?
Well, so far, just, the only thing they've said is like, well, it's still beta, we don't know how much they're going to charge us. Or, there's like, well, we already have a project built that does that. But like I said, like a lot of our clients have been interested, and like I said, I do see clients like trialing it in some cases, like, but it just depends. Like I said, like, if we immediately introduce it to them, it's hard because, like I said, we don't know, like next week they could change the features or change their pricing structure. And like I said, there's obviously, sections here that are not completed yet. So, but like I said, like we do at least have clients come to us and say, hey, can you implement Jira Product Discovery? No, but we are showing Jira Product Discovery is probably the one I've demoed the most. These other tools are a little bit more niche. So it depends on, what the customer's use case is. Like I said, I haven't really found recently I haven't had a customer that's, been so HR focused in Jira that they want to, do all their team management in. But I have, like I said, I have heard Scrum Masters and some groups who say, well, I don't have access to Workday, but, I usually just put in a Confluence page that has all this information. So, like I said, like I said, Confluence does do a great job of tracking a lot of this kind of stuff. But there definitely could be reasons why Atlas will work. And one thing I have seen is I think Atlassian has a package that's coming out for like Jira Work Management, Atlas, and I'm trying to think what else on there, just as like another sort of starter level tool. Let me see if I can find that real quick.
And a question for the audience: Has anyone started using these? Larry? Yay bundles! I see your comment there.
Yeah, yay bundles. Easier to sell, right? Or easier to buy because it's just one SKU or one charge.
Yeah, so they've kind of put this in here like as something that's sort of one of the basics here. So that's how that Atlassian is kind of marketing it. Like they have Jira Work Management, Confluence, Trello, Atlas. So it's maybe for like smaller business oriented companies that are HR focused in Jira because they don't have another HR tool. So again, Atlassian hopefully during Teams can give the rhyme or reason, why they decided to roll these tools out.
Hey, Jim, I do have a question. And again, this is kind of maybe a deeper question. Do you know if Atlas if they're doing anything with integrations with like, AD, LDAP, that sort of thing to automatically pull kind of company directories in?
That I don't know. It looked like that at least what I thought on there was that was a later feature, but I could be wrong. Like I said, who knows? They could suddenly change it tomorrow.
Right.
But like I said, like I said, it seems to be part of this like kind of easy startup package here, this Atlassian Together package. And again, hopefully they'll explain more what this Atlassian Together is here. But again, it's sort of to me it looks like it's like sort of a basic package that's meant to be, here's 4 apps that you can get started with that will do these basic things here for you.
Awesome. Thank
like
you.
I said, I'm not an Atlassian guy. I don't work with for Atlassian, so I'm not exactly sure what their logic was. But like I said, I'm sure they'll explain it more during Teams and be able to explain why they're doing this. I mean, so the pricing, like I said, is $15.20 per user for all 4 of those. Maybe it's a better deal.
I'm sure the accounting person figured out why I got to charge extra 20 cents there.
Yeah. Atlassian Together. For enterprise.
That's 1520, some important number for them.
Yeah.
So definitely. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jim. Finish.
Yeah, so definitely very interesting. Like so, it'd be interesting to hear what their perspective is on, because they usually share like what led them to develop the product and why they came out with it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that from your clients that none of them have been like, hey, oh yeah, that's exactly what I need. It seems more of a lukewarm reception. Correct me if I'm wrong, where it's like, hey, yeah, that could be useful, but I'll wait till later. So there's nothing like a killer feature, killer app that they wanted for so long with the Jira and Confluence, I guess, kind of plugging along then.
Yeah, well, like I said, my view is that some customers have spent lots of time creating, some version of this in Jira already for some of these things or in Confluence. So, they might not see the immediate need for it, but, again, new customers especially might be more the target because they don't have anything existing that they've built. So this is an easy way to get started. And like I said, it seems like the marketing customers that I've introduced Jira Product Discovery to are interested. That'll probably be I think Jira Product Discovery will probably be the most often thing requested, but maybe Compass as well from DevOps shops. But again, I'd have to see if they weren't getting these metrics before, where were they getting them from, or what was the, were DevOps managers really tracking these kinds of metrics? Those kinds of things would be interesting to find out. And like, I'm sure Atlassian did their research, so hopefully they are able to are able to kind of again explain why they decided to develop these tools.
Yeah, Jim, I was gonna say, like, from my perspective, thinking about this, like looking at some of the stuff they're doing, it feels a little bit like they're trying to bring you into one tool instead of having you across multiple tools. Because I was kind of looking at product discovery and like, I'm like, well, you could use a Trello board for that. Very easily. But by bringing it into Jira, it brings you all into one, one product, one instance. So I can kind of see where maybe some of these things are doing that, where they're like, hey, let's get them all into one spot. And maybe it has something to do kind of with that bundling idea there too. And I think you're spot on with the, like the package bringing on like to new people. Like I could see that, being new companies, new startups, new customers, right? Is, like where I'm at, like looking at Atlas, I'm like, it's kind of a cool thing, but we're so big, we're such a huge enterprise. I don't see us like leaving what we currently use to go to something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's not going to replace a Workday, I would think. But if you don't have Workday, then maybe maybe
it's great.
Yeah.
All right. I think we're running out of time here, so going to the next topic here. So Jim, any closing thoughts in terms of advice for all the Jira admins out here in terms of trying these new tools, or any last comments?
I would say if you have your own personal instance, especially, and I do, download them, give them a try, because all you have to do is go to the products menu and just click plus and then install them. And like I said, right now they're all free. So, if you have a personal Atlassian instance, cloud instance, try it out, see if you like it, play around with it. And like I said, maybe you'll find a way you can use it. So.
All right, great. All right. Thank you, Jim.
One question for you, Jim. Like, so this, whatever this product right now, Atlassian Discovery, do you see, is the space expanding or is it constricting, right? Like, so in a lot of places, I feel it is, these tools are mimicking each other. Like I see Atlassian is going the ServiceNow model in terms of the app scope, like application scope. So they're trying to slowly introducing that. And in terms of the features, like Airtable kind of thing, like how the UI looks, it mimics some other platform like Monday or Airtable in some aspects. So sometimes it's confusing, like what is the direction, how they're going, like do you have any thoughts on that?
My thoughts is they probably did research and found out what tools they're losing out to, and maybe they found out, well, Asana is being used by marketing companies because they think Jira is too software oriented. So we wanted to make an ideation tool for them because it's easier to do in Asana. And again, hopefully they'll explain it at Atlassian Teams. Because they usually will have a pitch where they explain, they showed the new product that's being released and what their thoughts were behind it. So I would guess to try to take on competitors that maybe some, especially for businesses, and companies that are not software. That's probably the biggest area I would think Atlassian's trying to compete with. Maybe the Monday.coms and like Asana, Reich, tools like that do that kind of thing. And there's lots of these cloud tools popping up all the time. So maybe, they just see all that and they want to try to get a piece of that.
Yeah, cool. I agree. But I guess, do you envision this anytime moving from cloud also for the data center users?
That's a good question. I'm not sure. Like I said, there's so many times where I see features in cloud that are not in data center and vice versa, or it boggles my mind as to why Atlassian has it one way or not another. And I'm sure it's more complicated than whether or not the customer wants these features. It probably has to do with how you build it. But my hope is that there's more parity. Priority schemes, for example, has been on my wish list forever, for cloud. So I'd love to see them get to some of those first, but it would be awesome if they are able to include some of the, the features that make, cloud really good in data center, because I do feel like that now cloud is sort of getting passed up, and maybe that's intentional. I don't know. Maybe I know that they're trying to get more people to use cloud. So maybe all the new products and features are coming out for cloud because that's where they want people. So I don't, again, I can't get into Atlassian's head, but hopefully they will give us some good info at Teams.
Yeah, I'm totally with you on that. And every time I come to this Atlassian conference, I make sure to stop by their booth and ask them, why are you treating data center as your step kid? Like you don't really show us that love in terms of all the features and stuff like that. But I guess it's their commercial aspect of it on what they want to do with the product. So,
yeah,
fair enough for them.
Tell you is go if you see a feature out there, go vote for it. Because they have that list of all the features people have asked for over the years on their their Jira site and Confluence site. So all you can do is just vote for it and watch it, and that's what I do.
I have done that. So I, in fact, gamified it as well within my company. So I
really?
tell people, if you want me to quickly work on your ticket, go and vote on these tickets.
Okay.
So I have had people, they go and work, but then I figured out Atlassian has an algorithm in the background. If the votes come from the same domain, like from the same company, it's just counted as one.
Oh, really? Okay. I did not know that. That's good. That's interesting to know that. Huh.
Yeah, I eventually found out from one other guy who works at Atlassian. He says, you might as well try to beat the system, but that's how the system is designed. It was funny.
All right. Okay. You know what? I'm going to cut this interesting talk here about Atlassian secret sauce, how they're doing. I'm going to move on. Madhu, we have you next year. So if you want to continue the discussion there.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim, for that just to kind of walk through kind of all the products and definitely insight among customers and kind of making choices about the new products. Again, folks, if you have any questions for Jim, I think he'll remain on the line here. So please feel free to ping him directly as well for any questions. Okay. With that, I'm going to stop the recording as we move on to the next topic here. All right, so give me 1 second here.